Today is the beginning of the infamous TPP Conference, the Trans-Pacific Project. And we're gathered here to protest at the Hilton downtown.
That is so against.
Yeah, I also have to.
Jerry, did you register already?
Good morning.
No, well, it's noon and we're outside TPP with quite a fair amount of people protesting.
Respect from everybody, even our enemies. We can lose if their respect. But when we give it up, we don't even have respect from the people we think we're dealing with.
Good morning. Let's try that again. Good morning. My name is Lorena Gonzalas, and I'm proud to represent 192,000 hardworking families here in San Diego and Imperial counties that are hardworking union members. But the Labor Council, we say that we're for more jobs, better jobs, and a better life for all San Diegans, union and non-union. And nothing could be more sure today than us taking a stand against what's happening in the hotel behind us. The legacy of NAFTA-style trade agreements has not been a good one for working people in San Diego or across the nation. During the NAFTA era, we've seen millions of good-paying American jobs shipped overseas and converted into sweatshop wage employment. This has not only contributed to the nation's severe unemployment problems, but it pushes down wages and benefits of the jobs we have left. That means a smaller tax base to support our schools, our infrastructure, and other critical services. We know that NAFTA was bad, and as the largest free trade agreement ever, obviously, the AFL-CIO is concerned about the direction of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Trade doesn't mean that we have to sacrifice basic environmental protections or abandon the standards that built the American middle class. Trade should be the opportunity to grow the middle class both here and around the world, our opportunity to help the rest of the world in a race to the top. In order to keep the middle class growing, we have to stand up when those jobs may get shipped overseas or forced to pay less here. Let's be clear. This is not a choice between trade and no trade. What we have is a choice between fair trade, which can benefit working families of every nation, and unfair trade that we've seen under NAFTA. We can start by demanding that these negotiations come out of the shadows. Secrecy has always been the enemy of democracy, and that's why we're here today, demanding that working families get a voice in the TPP. D1st District, Bob Filner.
Good morning. We certainly welcome this convention to a union hotel. And if I was mayor, or when I'm mayor, I'm going to say, welcome, we want your money here. And I would be the official welcomer at their negotiations, right? Of course, they don't let me in now. They have 600 corporate lobbyists in there with nobody from the people. But I would welcome them with the following speech. Why aren't the rest of the folks here? Why is this so private? One of my first votes in Congress 20 years ago was against NAFTA. I was proud of that vote. I'm still proud of that vote. And as we said there, then NAFTA is a disaster. And it has shown that at every level. Have we improved the environment? No. We've degraded it. Have we increased jobs? No. We've sent them abroad. Have we raised the quality of life or standard of living in either country? No. It has been worse. And TPP, I'm thinking of making a joke about PP, but I won't. TPP takes it to the max. It takes the disaster that NAFTA is and says we're going to be even worse off as a people and as working people in this country and in San Diego. You know, some people are making money on this. Some people are making money. They made billions off NAFTA, but it's not us. It's not the working people. It's not the people who make America. It is a few corporate interests. That's what NAFTA did. It made the world safe for corporate investment. And that's what TPP is going to do, make even more of the world safe for corporate investment. They don't care about standard living. They don't care about wages. They don't care about quality of life. They don't care about the environment. They care about one thing, their profit. And we say no. We say no. It is time to care about all the people in America. It's time to care about all the people in the world.
No!
You know, we should be, as Lorena said, a global race to the top. We should be increasing wages, increasing standard living, increasing environmental protections. But no, we're racing to the bottom. We're racing to the bottom of the whole world by lowering our standards in every possible way. Let us say no. Let us say open these negotiations to the people. Let us say open these negotiations to the people who really work to make America strong, the working people of this country. Thank you, organized labor. Thank you for what you're doing. Let's stop this so-called free trade. We love trade. We want it to be fair.
Brothers and sisters, I don't think I need to tell anyone here just what a disaster NAFTA-style trade agreements have been for working people throughout the world. In California alone, we've seen over 500,000 good-paying jobs shipped abroad under NAFTA and similar trade agreements. And now inside, they're proposing a Pacific Rim-wide trade agreement for 4 continents that some are already calling a NAFTA on steroids. As the congressman said, 600 corporate lobbyists have been given access to the negotiating text. Meanwhile, our negotiators won't even tell us what they're proposing in our names. Let's be real clear about what these corporations want. The Walmarts, the Verizons, the Chevrons. They not only think that you're overpaid, they think Chinese sweatshop workers are overpaid. They want to use the TPP to undercut working conditions globally. Okay? They think that you're not paying enough for prescription drug costs. Big Pharma wants to use the TPP to extend drug patents around the world, jacking up costs here in the United States and signing a literal death sentence for people with AIDS and tuberculosis in developing countries. There are people in this building who think that corporate profits are more important than the environment we leave behind to our children and grandchildren. They want to use the TPP to gut environmental regulations and to head off any sort of climate change regulations. There are people in this building, believe it or not, who think that Wall Street is overregulated. They want to use the TPP to handcuff countries' ability to regulate banks and insurance companies and hedge funds. This is what they want. The good news, brothers and sisters, is that you're all here today. And when we stand shoulder to shoulder, labor, environmentalists, Occupy, people from the United States, people from developing countries, we can win. We won with the WTO in Seattle. We won with the FTAA in Miami. And we're going to win with the TPP starting here in San Diego, dragging this beast of a trade agreement into the light of day. And just like any other blood-sucking vampire, it's going to burst into flames. So thank you for being here.
They know what I'm speaking of. We go into places like Ohio and Wisconsin where public employees are being attacked, and we don't have the forces to fight back that we once did in the factories of Ohio and Wisconsin. The machinists sell airplanes to the whole world for trade, but we're not for trade. That's a journey to the bottom. We need international labor standards. They need to be enforceable. There needs to be
Members of Congress believe that free trade schemes like the TPP are good for the people of our nation, let them bring their beliefs to the communities in which we live and in the court of public opinion. Be it further resolved, because because of the importance of this topic, we call on members of Congress who support the TPP and similar free trade agreements, that free trade schemes, to facilitate pro and con debate in their districts.
And organized labor. I want to say for the record that Friends of the Earth stands in solidarity with Friends in Organized Labor and also with defenders of worker rights around the world. So I'm just going to tell one quick story about actually my growing up here and going to high school here. I went to school actually about 10 miles away from here. I was actually an all-girls Catholic school run by some pretty radical nuns and a couple of good teachers. And actually our economics teacher in high school one day took a group of students down to visit a maquiladora. And if you can imagine this is a group of teenage girls visiting a maquiladora looking at other teenage girls who weren't going to school, but they were working. And can you imagine that sight and what it means to a young person to see that? It wasn't until college that I learned more about the labor and environmental issues that were happening with the maquiladoras. It wasn't until later that I had read about how human rights groups had documented how female workers were being sexually harassed, about how labor organizers were being threatened. And in fact, just 45 days ago, there were 4 masked men in a van who essentially kidnapped a worker rights defender and held a gun to his head and dropped him off, abandoned him on a freeway. And this worker rights defender was on his way to a hearing where he was defending the rights of some garment workers.